Let me do that again. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Will you move? Will you move? You gotta move, man. Come on. Okay, so I want low. You gotta move. You gotta move. I want low. Seriously. And I'm gonna hit my timer. Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Old Crows Homestead. Shelly here. And I got a whole bunch of corn to process. Got two different ways that I'm going to do it. I'm going to can some and I'm going to freeze some. So come along with me and I'll show you how it's done. So right now I'm in the process of shucking all of this corn. That corn right there that's in that tub is going to be canned. So I'm going to shuck 3 dozen of this. I think I went and bought, I got 10 dozen ears of corn. And I'm going to can, let me think about this. I'm going to can 6 dozen and I'm going to freeze the other 4 for Randy and I. So I realized that most people probably know how to shuck corn. Just in case you don't, super easy to do. All you're going to do is peel off all the green stuff, right? You can either do it by layer or you can start at the top where the tassel's at and just rip that apart. Start pulling that down. Just like that. And then what I do, I break this off down here. You're gonna have all these silks on there. You just roll it back and forth in your hand. You can pull those off pretty easily. And then since this is what I'm going to be processing to can, I'm going to cut probably about that much of that off, because see how that's just kind of bare up there? Right like that. So let me finish getting this shucked and I'll be right back. So I had all my corn shucked. I've started cutting the kernels off. Before I cut the kernels off, I go through, see there's still some silks on that, so I'm going to go through and pull off all those extra silks. Doesn't bother me if that gets in the corn, but I don't want a bunch of it in the corn. Now, they have all kinds of gadgets that you can use to cut kernels off of corn, and actually Randy has bought me 3 different kinds. They're not here yet. He ordered them for me just so I can try out and see which one I like. And I'm probably going to do a video on that, telling you all, showing you all the pros and cons of each one of them. I'm excited to try them. But all I've ever used to cut kernels off of the cob is a knife. So I'm just going to go down through here, cut it off. And you saw that I did 3 dozen ears of corn. It took me roughly an hour to cut all this off of here. I'm sure if I had one of those gadgets, it probably would have went a little bit faster. But my point is, you don't need the gadgets to do it. You just need a sharp knife. All of those cobs, you can, it's hard to say you can compost those. You can, but it probably takes a while for a cob to break down, I'm sure. But with it not being, with this being sweet corn and not field corn, our pigs actually like this. When we shucked all of the cobs, or ears of corn, Randy took the all of the leaves and the silks, the husks and all that stuff out to, we've got some piglets out there right now. He said the piglets loved them. They tore into them. But because these aren't super hard, our pigs will eat these too. And you could probably take them, you could, if you got chickens, you could let chickens gnaw on them, because there's still a little bit of corn left on there. I try to get as close to the cob as I can, but there's still stuff on there that they could eat. anyways, you want to get all the corn cleaned off the cob. Right now I've got jars in my water bath canner sterilizing. This requires pressure canning. So corn is a low acid food. Where I live, it takes 10 pounds of pressure for 55 minutes in pint jars, and I want to say it's 85 minutes for quart jars, I believe. But whenever you're canning, always reference your ball canning book. It's got all of the rules, all of the stuff. But when I come back, I'll make sure that I give you the right time for a quart jar. But I do know that pints are 55 minutes because I canned some last night and it was 55 minutes that I left them for. All right, now we're going to get this jarred up and in the canner and ready to process. Okay, so I have my supplies. I have all my jars that have been sterilized. I have my funnel, got a measuring cup that I can put the corn into the jars. I have my jar lifter, I have rings, I have sterilized lids. They say that you don't have to do this anymore, but I've been doing this for so long, I don't know, it just feels weird when I don't. I also have vinegar there. I have paper towels that I can clean the rims of my jars before I put the lids on them. I also have my, I actually have 2 of these Nesco pressure canners. You can do water bath in these too. I have one there and I have one here. And then I have my little water pot. This thing is so cool. All I have to do is fill it up to the max line right there. I hit this thing right here and it starts boiling water for me. Since I'm raw packing the corn, I'll put it into the jar, leave a 1-inch headspace at the top of the jar, which basically means it comes up to about there. And but I do have my little thing right there that I can measure it if I need to. And then I'm going to fill it up with boiling water from my little pot right there. One thing that I want to tell you about these canners, I have a regular pressure canner, which is right up there, top of my cabinet, right up there. It's a Presto pressure canner. I don't have one of those super expensive All-Americans. I would love to have one, not knocking anybody that has one. They are nice. But Jason and I actually bought one each of these last year, maybe the year before last, for the festival because we were going to do a canning workshop. Our friend Lawrence, he does the canning workshops for us. And we wanted to make it easy because we couldn't have a stove up where he was going to, do his stuff. We wanted to make it easy, so we got an electric pressure canner. And I love this thing. I love it so much that I told Randy that I wanted another one, which he got for me for Christmas this last year. Because I think you can get four quarts in here and 5 pints. And then you can get a bunch of little jelly jars. Because it has right here, it has these plates that you can put between the jars and you can process more than one at a time or more than one layer at a time. It also comes with this little rack to sit in there so they're not sitting directly on the bottom. These things are so stinking easy to use. I absolutely love them. And when I put the corn in there and get it going, I'll show you how easy they are to use. But yeah, if anybody was ever wondering whether or not that they would like it, I love mine. And I will probably only use this to do pressure canning, even though it only holds 4 at a time, just because it's so easy to use. I'm not, Absolutely, you're not heating up the house. I won't ever get rid of my pressure canner up there, but if I'm ever without electricity or something and I need to can, I can still do that. I can put that on a fire or something like that and still can. But I love these. So give me just a minute and we'll start getting corn into the jars. So whenever you're canning, especially if you're brand new to canning, this book is your Bible. This book has everything. It has tons of recipes, all the rules about canning. sorry, all the rules about canning, all of the, is it USDA? USDA, is that the one who regulates all of this stuff? I think it is. But it has all of their rules about everything. It has all the supplies that you need. It has all the times and the elevations and the food and all of that stuff. Everything that you'll need is in this book right here. There are I have other canning books up there. I've got Amish canning books. I have all kinds of other stuff. But if you're brand new to canning, you're just starting out, this is the book you want, okay? There are people out there, and I'm one of them, who will come up with their own recipes about stuff. Not necessarily in this book. You'll find YouTube channels. Sometimes they call them rebel canners. Sometimes they call them heritage canners. The Amish canning method, because pretty much the Amish canning method is water bath canning for like everything. They just do it for a really long period of time. I'm not against that. If people, you know, it's your kitchen, your rules. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. However, if you're new to canning, this is the book that you need. I won't ever put a video out on YouTube doing those kind of canning methods that don't line up with this book. I'm not ever going to teach somebody else to do that. I might choose to do that on my own and have that stuff in my pantry, but I'm not going to put it on YouTube. So, on page 390 of this book, it has whole kernel corn, okay? So there's a raw pack method and a hot pack method, which really, you go back to page 387, I think it is, and it's kind of the rules for canning vegetables. Like I said, this is a, Randy's videotaping me and Loki's like trying to eat his head. So if it's shaky, that's why. But these are low acid corn is low acid. It's a low acid vegetable. And that is relevant when we come over here to this, because there's a low button and a high button for low acid and high acid, okay? But basically what you do, you're gonna fill up the jar to an inch headspace. You're not gonna pack the corn down in there. Now I do, when I put the water in there, I do stick that in there a little bit to get air bubbles out, but you don't even, you don't need to pack the corn. So you're going to fill it up to an inch headspace, put the boiling water into an inch headspace, and then you're going to seal your jar up, clean the rim, put the lid on, seal it up, put it in the pressure canner. Now I wanted to tell you before I forget about it, we want 10 pounds, 10 pounds of pressure, and for corn it's going to be 55 minutes for pint jars. That was my cat. 55 minutes for pint jars and 85 minutes for quart jars. So if you want to do quarts of corn, you can do that. I'm doing pints because it's just me and Randy at home. Why would we need a huge quart of corn? And if we did need more corn, we've got multiple jars, right? So I'm going to start putting corn in my jar. That looks like it has a little bit much. So you want it basically about that full. Now, there are a bunch of different methods of preserving corn, and even in this video, I'm also going to show you freezing it, because I want to freeze some ears of corn. And will you go? Go. I'm trying to do something here. Freezing is probably the easiest. If you have a bunch of corn to put up, freezing is probably the way that you want to do it. You just have to, blanch the corn and then stop it cooking. And there's even, people do different ways. Some people will freeze it while it's still in the husks. And that's fine too. Again, your kitchen, your rules. But you'll see all kinds of different methods out there in YouTube world. The canning method that I'm using, like I said, is out of the Ball canning book. So that's why I'm doing this. I think, let's see, I had 10 last night. I think I might end up with 25 jars, 25 pints of corn out of 3 dozen ears, if that helps you gauge what you need. And when you're trying to figure out what you need for your pantry, you know, like to do a supply for your family for the year, think about how many times a week do you eat corn or any vegetable, and then multiply that by 52 weeks. If you only eat corn once a week, you need 52 jars of corn to put up. If you have a big family, you probably want quart jars. If you have 2 people like me and Randy, or even just 3, you can get away with pint jars. But that kind of gives you a gauge of how to figure out how much corn you want to put up, where you don't have to be buying it from the grocery store, right? That one might be a little bit full. Let me dump a little bit out of that. I don't know if I'll get 25. I might get like 22 or 23. Let's see. I was able to get a bunch. What did I tell you? 11 dozen? I was able to get 11 dozen jars, canning jars, at an estate sale this last week, or maybe it was the week before last, for 55 bucks, y'all. I'm so excited. But some of the jars that I got, because I came home and washed all of them, some of the jars I got are these square pint jars, and I think these are so cute. I love these. I had never had any of those before. So now, I want to put my water in. Okay. I'm just going to do that a little bit because, like I said, I don't want to pack it down, but I don't want a lot of air bubbles in my corn either. And I put too much in that one. I need something to put. Ah, I got too much in that one too. I'm going to clean off my lid, or my rim. That one has some corn on it. And then I'm going to put my lids on. I'm doing 5 at a time because I can get 5 into my canner. Now when you put the lids on, the rings, when you put the rings on, you don't want to crank these down. You want them finger tight. So I'm not like taking the jar and twisting it super tight. I just want it finger tight, however I can, right like that. How tight I can get it with 2 fingers. Okay, now I'm going to put them in my canner. Let me plug this in. There it goes. Okay. And then I have to put 8 cups of water. So I have 8 cups of water in here. What's happening? Are we good now? Maybe that bottom outlet is being wonky. Okay. I'm going to close my lid. So this comes with 2 pressure. How do I pull this off? There we go. This comes with 2 pressure, I call these jigglers. I think that's what they're called, I'm not sure. The black is the 10-pound, the green is the 15-pound. So I want this one on here. Okay, there's an arrow right here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's an arrow right there, and I want this set to exhaust right now. Okay, so right now I am going to hit low, and then I'm going to set my time, and then I'm going to hit start. I don't need your help, Loki. I don't. So my corn is in here. I've got it set on exhaust. My lid is locked. I'm going to hit low. I'm going to punch in my time, which is 55 minutes. Because that's how long I want it to be under pressure for. And I'm going to hit start. Now it's going to go through this cycle and it's going to build up pressure. And every time that it goes into a different cycle, it will beep and let me know. It will say E10, and it will it'll start building up pressure. It'll say E10 and it'll count down to E0, and when it goes to E0, I'll turn the jiggler to airtight and it will can for 55 minutes and it'll shut off on its own. I love this thing. I didn't get it when it started, but you can see that this says E6 now. It started at E10. When it gets down to E0, it will beep, and that will let me know that I need to switch this to airtight, and then it will start canning. Now it's ready for me to turn it to airtight, and it's going to build up pressure. And when it has enough pressure built up, that timer will start going from 55 down, and we'll be done. So next, we're gonna freeze some corn. I've got, y'all, my kitchen is a wreck. It is a wreck. When you're processing food, it just gets that way. So overlook the mess. But I've got corn right here. I've got like whole long corn on the cob, and then underneath there I've got half cobs. I wanted to do the 2 different kinds because sometimes you just like to have corn on the cob, right? And sometimes we like to do like a shrimp boil, or maybe we're having the kids over and we know that they're not going to eat a whole cob or something like that. So I wanted 2 different sizes. I'm going to use our VacMaster to seal these. I love that thing. So let's get to it. To start, we need to blanch the corn. So right now I have my water bath canner going. It's heating up water, and I've got this pot right here next to it that is going to have the cold water bath. Okay, so I'm going to put water in this with ice, because as soon as this is done, the time for blanching, it needs to stop cooking immediately and get into the ice water bath. For this type of corn, it's not a huge cob, so you're looking at 6 to 7 minutes. If you have big fat corn that is a wider, I'm going to say like more than 1.5 inches in diameter, you want to do like maybe 9 to 11 minutes. But the amount of time that I spend blanching this is the same amount of time I'm going to leave it in the ice water bath. And then I'll dry it off, and then I'll put it in the vacuum sealer. Alright, I just put my corn in here. It's starting to boil back up. I'm going to set my timer for 7 minutes. And let that boil. And then as soon as that timer goes off, I'm going to bring it over here and put it in an ice bath. Now I'm taking them out, putting them in a cold water bath to stop that cooking process. Now we're going to remove it from the water bath, the ice water bath, and put it over there on those paper towels because we're going to dry it before we put it in the chamber sealer. Now I am drying off all of my big ears of corn. And I'm going to put them in a bag. Now obviously I write whatever's in the bag on everything. Obviously this is corn. It's not going to take a brain surgeon to figure that out even if it's frozen. But I just do it out of habit. And I always make sure that I put the date that when I put it in my freezer. That way I know and I can rotate. Now I'm sticking 3 ears of corn in here. So if Randy and I want corn for dinner, that's like 1.5 ears. And if we have company, we'll just take out more packages, right? So if you've watched our sausage making videos when we process a hog, you've probably seen me use this. This machine, you know, a lot of homesteaders have, you know, they'll get like a freeze dryer, dehydrator, you know, all of that kind of stuff. This purchase, and it's not a cheap purchase. It was, I want to say this cost us around $700 because I had a 35% discount with Kentucky Sustainable Living Code and a sale that they were having. They both stacked. So, yeah, I picked this up. I want to say it was like $750 or something like that I picked it up for. This, by far, is the best purchase. We have used this for so many different things. We use it when we process animals to, you know, put the meat in the freezer. We use it when we're marinating steaks or meat or something like that. We use it when Randy makes bacon. He you know, salts the pork, puts it in one of these. It cures in that. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to lay my corn right there. This strip right here is what heats up to seal the bag. So I'm going to make sure that I've got that in there even. I'm going to close the lid. This is already set to a pre-configured setting. When it's done, it'll suck out all the air. It will seal the bag, and they'll look like this. Ready to go into the freezer. When you're freezing corn, if you have a good seal on it like this is, it will last up to 12 months in your freezer. And the lid's open. The bag is sealed right there. It does a double seal. Good to go. I love this thing. We use this all the time. I never dreamed how much I would use it. VacMaster is a phenomenal product. This is they have great big ones that you can get for, you know, like butcher type. If you were a butcher, if you did that as your job or whatever, they have great big ones that you can get. But as far as like personal kind of homestead use, this is the second largest one. This is the VP 220. Jason, I think, has the maybe VP 320, I think is what it is, or 330, something like that. His is wider than mine, and it will do, I think his will do as big as turkeys, but mine will do chickens with this bubble on the top. You can put that in and do a whole chicken. So I love this thing. It's a phenomenal piece of equipment, and I'm so glad that we purchased this. So now I'm doing the short ones. I'm gonna set those for 6 minutes. The other ones I set for 7. But remember, this whole timer thing is based on the diameter of the cob, not the length. So 6 to 7 minutes for the diameter that we have. These are sitting here, they're gonna dry. Okay, so now I have the small packages, or the small cobs. I think I've got roughly 10 in each one. I think this one might have 9 because that's all we had left. Again, I'm gonna lay it up here, put the lid down. It's gonna do its thing. Does a great job packaging these. And like I said, this will last for approximately a year in the freezer. Have these for shrimp boils. If we have the grandkids over and we want small cobs or whatever. I think I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packages of the small ones, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 packages of the bigger ones. Check it out, double seal across the top. Wouldn't you say this is probably the best investment that we've made? Mm-hmm. Out of all of the expensive stuff that we've bought for our homestead, we use this more than I actually ever thought we would. It's so awesome. Totally worth the investment. And it's a whole lot quicker. We have done the, what are those called? Food savers? We've been through like 3 of those, I think. Because when you're doing a hog, you use the fire out of that thing. The whole having to tear, cut the bag, seal the bag, stuff the bag, then vacuum seal the bag. This is so much faster. What do we end up with in freezer stuff? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bags of little cobs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bags of these. I have 2 bags that only have 2. The rest of them have 3 in it. Okay, so give me a minute and we'll come back with a count of everything. So we ended up with a total of 23 pints of corn. That was from 6 dozen ears, and then we had 15 or 16 bags of corn to go into the freezer, and that was from 4 dozen ears of corn. We bought 10 dozen ears of corn. So we got quite a bit put back for our pantry, and I'm excited about that. I love sweet corn. So like I said, there's different ways to process corn. I've even done it where we cut the kernels off the cob and froze them in bags and had them that way instead of canning them. This is actually the first time that I've canned corn before. I think I like it. We'll see. So anyways, if you have any comments, you can put them down below. If you have other ideas about how to process corn, you can let me know. Maybe I'll try that one next time. I am going to get those, whatever those things are called, kernel cutters or whatever they are. When those come, I'm going to make a video using all 3 of those and tell you all which one I like the best. So yeah, Today is actually the 4th of July. I hope y'all have a fantastic 4th of July, or have had a fantastic 4th of July, because it's kind of late now. Our neighbors have been outside setting off fireworks, and Cooper is losing his mind over that because he doesn't like loud noises. But I think they finally calmed down. I don't hear any fireworks going off anymore, so, and that's fine. But yeah, hope y'all have a great holiday. One more thing. I will leave a code down in the description for our discount for the VacMaster chamber sealers. You can get 15% off with our link and our coupon code. That will stack with whatever specials VacMaster has going on right now. So you could possibly get quite a bit more off. But I'll leave that down in the description if y'all are interested. Like I said, the chamber sealer is probably one of the best investments we've made for our homestead. We use it all the time. And yeah, so again, have a great holiday, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Yeah, God bless you. Have a great day.